Kyler, hope you're doing well, man. It's been a few weeks since we last visited after that Colorado game, and now completely opposite end of the spectrum from the end of that game, losing on the Hail Mary. Obviously, I don't know if you want me to remind you of that or not, but now you're on a 4-game winning streak, completely flipped the script. I mean, what's the difference of emotions? Like, do you even remember that time? Does it seem like a year ago now that you lost that game and then everything you've been through since then?
It definitely feels like it was a year ago. With the 2 bye weeks, how many games we played in between. Yeah, but just like you said, flipping the script, man, it's just there's nothing like it. Just the locker room, like we got a lot more belief, more confidence, obviously, with winning games, but just a completely different feel.
There was this reoccurring theme, I feel like, after the bye week that was just kind of like, I think everyone in that locker room believed, y'all are so much better than what your record said. And you just had to put it on the field. What's the vibe now that you have put some of that on the field and gotten to 6-4 and bowl eligible?
Yeah, yeah. I think it just feels like we're just clicking on all cylinders. I think defense as a whole, I think we can play a lot better. But offense has just been blowing it out of the water. Special teams has been great. Making plays, getting offense, good scoring position, things like that. It really just so much confidence that comes with that. Just and with confidence comes a lot more success. Yeah, just seeing the confidence that our offense is playing with right now is just awesome.
Yeah, so playing off that, against West Virginia, I think it was the first 3 fourth down attempts they had, y'all got to stop. And that kind of separated. So, like, you might say, oh, the defense did this or didn't do this, but those were 3 key moments. That's basically getting a turnover. Was that something that, like, you knew going into the game that they're going to try to do that? And how big of an emphasis has that been of getting fourth down stops as important as they are?
Oh, huge. For the most part, we've been pretty solid on third down. So it was definitely an emphasis going into West Virginia, knowing that they were going to go for it on fourth down a little bit more. Like those were downs that we needed to win. If they're gonna not punt and try to continue the drive, that's something that like we need to stop it there.
I feel like y'all as a defense, it's been an interesting year because it'll be like you have a great half and then a bad half, and then just those roller coaster of things. What have y'all discussed about that, and how hungry are y'all to put together a full 4-quarter display?
Super hungry. It's just we just know what we're capable of. It's just like we've seen it. We've put it on film. Just like you said, it's been for 2 quarters here, 3 quarters here. A half here. It's just trying to put it all together for 4 quarters. And I feel like we're just waiting to do that. And I think this week would be a good one to start.
Yeah, so one of the strong suits of the defense has been obviously sacks and getting tackles for behind the line of scrimmage. And obviously that starts with your position at that edge jack position. And how much pride do you take, and not only for just you, but the entire defense of creating disruption, getting to the quarterback, and sacking West Virginia 4 times with Garrett Green. That was a really impressive number based on what they've given up. And obviously you want to build on that. But how much satisfaction you get from getting tackles for loss in the games like that and in big moments?
Yeah, it just changes the game. You're going from whether it being 2nd and 7 to 2nd and 13. So just kind of flips the script on the mind. They're probably going to be trying to throw the ball here. It allows you to kind of get a little more aggressive in terms of pass rush and things like that. But just our defensive line has been playing really, really well in terms of pass rush and just do whatever they can to create disruption. Yeah.
In the matchup this weekend, Garrett Green had 100 yards rushing, over 100 yards rushing in the first half. Y'all are about to face 2 other mobile quarterbacks, going forward, and hadn't really faced that many up to this point. How big of a test was that in learning experience for y'all, and how do you think y'all can, take that experience and use it for these future games?
Huge. Yeah, huge. We knew what we were getting into, and we didn't do a very good job of containing him. We knew that pretty much if his first read wasn't there, he was going to get out of there. So I think just this week putting a little more emphasis on containing the quarterback, and we got a lot better in the second half, I think,
Yeah.
after we kind of figured out that's really what they were going to try to do. So just looking forward to build on that.
Yeah, I was gonna follow up that. Obviously, in the second half, after West Virginia had, I don't know how many yards it was total, but in the second half, until that last score, they didn't score a point, and I think it was under 100 yards of offense, or really close to it. How disappointing. I think Coach Aranda mentioned this. Like, he was pissed off about the last touchdown, and that's happened a couple of times. But like, is that a motivational factor going into the next game of like, we did that, we allowed that score when we didn't need to, even though it didn't mean a lot at the end of the game. You're up by 21, it turns into 14, but still, like, you get that stop, and it's just kind of another feather in the cap, but you couldn't get it done.
Yes, for sure. We did the same thing against Tech, and it's just like, I don't want to say it takes away from the win, but it really does a little bit, It's just kind of like, just got to close it out, Like, our offense does such a good job of closing it out whenever they need to. Like, that's something that we've got to do. And like the drop off between the ones and the twos, or the twos and the threes, like that's something that we need to work on. And so just, it's definitely like something that can take away from the win, but gives you something to build on too.
Right. So you mentioned the offense is clicking on all cylinders, and that you kind of you want the defense to get there as well. How do y'all get there? What's like that next step in your eyes?
Yeah, I think we talked about it before, but just consistency. We've shown that we're capable. We've shown that we can do it. And we just got to put it together for 4 quarters. Yeah, I really just think it's
and it's that simple. Yeah, it is. And
Yeah.
I think we've seen that with the second halves. Like, you talk about the BYU game, completely flipped the script in that one. Obviously against Tech, I think you did that a little bit as well. Of you shut down and slow down that offense, and you've done it multiple times. And even back to the Utah game, and truthfully the Colorado game before the last second Hail Mary in overtime. But how much pressure does it take off of you, or does it change your mentality knowing that the offense is capable of doing what it does, and knowing like, hey, if we get 2 fourth down stops, this game could be over, or if we get a turnover, this game could be over. And not to say that it wasn't like that in previous years, say last year, or in 2022, but like, how mentally does that just take the pressure off in a lot of ways?
Oh yeah, for sure. Just knowing that like you get off the field on 3rd down, like there's a really, really, really good chance that our offense is going to go score. And like, even on the special team side, it's like if we can give our offense good field position, like they're going to do something with it, So it just adds another like building block, I would say. Not so worried about like, oh, defense has to do something, like we got to score or something. It's more of like, let's get our offense the ball back so they can do their thing.
Right.
Going into this matchup with Houston, what are some of the things that maybe stand out to you about what they do, and maybe something that they do differently than the other teams that you've faced so far this year?
Yeah, their quarterback's really good. He's really athletic. They got a lot of good skill players. Their defense is really good. Their special teams are good. So I think in terms of like our defense, like this could be a game changer for the rest of the season to go. I think we need to step up and do our part. Houston's defense is really good. So yeah. That's
in this stretch versus the stretch at the beginning of the season, what is Coach Aranda? Is he still the same guy through all this? Have you seen a change from him? And really for the whole coaching staff, what has that been like in letting them see what you're fully capable of in practice and then doing on the field?
Yeah, I think the spirits are a little higher maybe with the coaches, but like for the most part, like it's been the same, which I think is really cool to see. Just kind of the being able to handle the adversity of the storm, and carrying and just continuing on the same path, trusting your process. I really have not seen a change in Coach Aranda. He's been the same through and through. And that's one of the things that I respect so much about that guy.
That's really cool.
Yes, sir.
Kyler, how have you seen yourself grow this season as, a player and at this jack position? Where have you seen the biggest improvements, and how comfortable are you now at that position?
Yeah, a ton. That definitely feel just so much more comfortable than I did last year. I feel like I've really played a good amount of football at this point. I've seen a lot of different teams, played against a lot of different people. So just using that kind of veteran experience, the game just slows down a little bit. You're able to see more, expect more, know what's coming, things like that. But really, like, there's another level of confidence that I feel like I've gained this year. Really, like in myself, but also just in the team. Just the guys that I get to play next to. Like I know they're gonna do their job, so I need to do mine.
Yeah.
Um,
Kyler, really appreciate your time today and obviously this week. And good luck on your trip to Houston and in that game against the Cougars.
yes, sir. Thank you so much.
Thanks,
Appreciate
Kyler.
it, man.